Hey man, say man, this is Diz and Ed
This is Ed and Diz.
podcast from around the way, man. We cranking it up today.
Man, so we got a hot edition for you today, man, because it's been a lot going on this week, man. So, quite a bit of new news. You got the John Morant tour that it seems like Adam Silver's been going on as of recent. We're gonna jump into that. We got the Zion situation that's going on right now with Mariah Mills and all the other young ladies that's coming out as of recent. We got we got quite a bit going on, man. So we're gonna jump right into it right away. First off, man, Adam Silver's new comments about Ja. Does it seem like with the consistent, because he talked about him with Stephen A. Smith on the NBA Finals broadcast. He also spoke with him recently with somebody else. He spoke with him recently. I think it was Dan Patrick on his show. That's where he kind of made the joke about not having a gun. Then it was something else he recently made comments about with it. Of course, the original statement. So, with that being said, some people have beginning to feel as though he's going on a tour, a press tour about the whole John Morant situation. What you think?
I think it's preparation. I think he's preparing people because he's not gonna drop the ball. He's not gonna drop the hammer on dude. The man is a big chunk of social media engagement in the NBA. Like John Morant highlights. If you watch Grizzlies games, if you watch 10 of them in a row, you're probably gonna get 40 to 45 John Morant highlights. Nobody else doing that. People not really doing that. Like, and the thing, like, if you get a bunch of Kyrie highlights, they all below the rim. This dude giving you below the rim highlights, above the rim highlights, passes, law is crazy. I don't know necessarily if the NBA know this man didn't commit an actual crime. He did a violation of optics, if you will. That's pretty much it. So I think all the talk about Ja, especially during the finals, is just him basically trying to soothe people or smooth people over. So when he finally, because it sounds like to me he wants to come with some type of he doesn't want to come off as a hard ass. He wants to do something that's actually going to be progressive.
He, truth be told, you're not wrong. He's just not a hard ass. That's just the reality. And I think he just want to make that clear more so than anything, because he's just not. But at the same time, and I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a way where it don't come off too objective. But why though? At the same time, why at this point? What does it serve for you to do it in this capacity where you're now even making jokes about it? And it's a constant, it's almost just building up a crazy level of anticipation about it. And it's a distraction to the main thing that's going on right now, which is the NBA Finals and Jokic going on a crazy run right now.
And Jamal Murray. So
yeah, and Jamal Murray as well. But with that being said, why? That's the main thing. I feel like with anything that Silver's got going on right now, with his intentions to do with Ja, go ahead and do it. But the constant talking about it, even if you are trying to set a tone, who cares? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you do regardless. That's a reality. It really don't even matter what tone set, 15 or 50. Whatever you decide to drop is gonna drop. And when it drops, people gonna feel however they choose to feel about it. So why set the tone? Because now the tone, if that's the objective or the atmosphere or creating the atmosphere of acceptance for what he's about to do, whether it's soft or hard, it's a distraction in terms of the main product right now, which is the NBA Finals.
Again, whoever's working in that office with him, his analysts, his PR teams, all this stuff, they done crunched the numbers. So this is what they chose to roll with.
Right.
You know, for whatever reason.
Facts.
I don't know what demographics they trying to appeal to more. I don't know what their actual target is.
Right.
You know, you got to be in a think tank to know that. I just know that what it looks like to me, he's trying to come off as a reform guy instead of a crime and punishment guy. And reform, as we all know, you get reform through actually trying to help people for whatever it is they're going through. You know, whatever it is that makes people go left when they should have went right, or right when they should have went left. So I don't know. We don't even know what he has planned outside of the suspension, because one thing I do know, he's got something planned outside of a suspension, and we don't know that. We don't know that tactic yet.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because in terms of what a suspension is, I think the suspension is going to come with, as far as how the suspension is levied down, I don't think it's going to be the traditional 30 games, 20 games, 15, 10 games, whatever. It's going to be, if you ask me, it's going to be somewhere along the line of 12 to 15 games with terms and conditions in place, certain goals or certain objectives that he has to fulfill along the way, meeting with certain people, therapy, treatment, probably some community service, whatever little terms and things that they come up with, running laps, whatever it is, they're going to have certain objectives and goals that he's going to have to meet in order to get back into this. So they're going to create, and I think it's going to be in it more so, it possibly could be indefinite, to where they really don't set a number of games. And that allows them, it creates to where they never really gave us a certain amount of games. They focus on more of redemption, and also they focus on addressing the issues and getting him up to speed where they need him to be in order to be the face of the league, in terms of therapy, just PR training classes, whatever the case may be. Those are going to be the goals and objectives that's set in place in order for him to return to the court.
That very well might be. It might be. He might have a lot of stuff behind the scenes set up where you got like a social media handler. Mm-hmm. It might be a lot of other things set up in place for him. I don't again, Adam Silver. One thing I know, he's not going to come down with a hammer. One thing I don't know, because he's so vague about how he's going to address it, is what all standards and practices he's going to make around it. I do think that he's going to keep a close eye and close contact with the Grizzlies brass and front office a lot more. I think it's going to have a lot more to do with them, because I think they've been very hands-off with it so far.
Do you think they may possibly even appoint someone in particular to kind of or recommend?
That's written in stone. Somebody, it's at this point, somebody's coming along that's right. A third party.
It needs to be somebody that, that knows the nuances of how to be
I will say this. I've seen more important balls be dropped as far as people fucking up stuff that could have happened.
Right.
So they just might not do that, which would be the ultimate blunder. It would be
talking about the league.
Talking about the Grizzlies.
Gotcha.
Because the league is not responsible for your star player. They're responsible for how that star player is presented. Right. They're not responsible for the management of day to day. They can't do that.
Right.
You can't manage the league and the rosters. That's for the team. And the Grizzlies been so hands off, they're gonna have to do those things. Now, if they are comfortable or not doing that, or if they even know how to do something like that, or even if they're too prideful to bring somebody in that can tell them, all those things remain to be seen. A lot of this is TBD. A lot of this is to be determined.
Right.
Because it's uncharted territory, and we know with David Stern, it would have been a hammer. Yeah. We know with Adam Silver,
take a year off.
We obviously know with Adam Silver, he takes more of a soft whack-a-mole approach. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna hit one behind him. If another one pop up, I hit it if it come. If it don't, the mole is whack. So that's
I think he has a greater understanding of the objective is at the end of the day to get a person where they need them to be in terms of representation of the league. And he understands the whole hit people over the head with punishment is the one size fit all approach doesn't apply, especially when you're dealing with people, humans, feelings, mentalities, all that stuff. So everybody don't respond the same. you can ruin some people by punishing them. Then you got some people where it rehabilitates them, totally. They ain't doing what they used to do. So I think Silva also takes that approach in terms of how he handles discipline and handle players and stuff like that. So I think that probably is. I think that's definitely how he looks at it, just based on how he talk about things and the way he goes about certain situations. He has a very progressive approach, and that aligns with it.
I know one thing for sure. That draft, that top pick, is a bigger story than this finals. There's no way that the Josh situation is gonna bleed over into that. So people just know that it ain't bleeding over, brother.
Because if you think about it, the finals are gonna be wrapped up this week.
Yeah, it's 2 days just about. Yeah.
So if that's the case, what are people gonna talk about for the next couple of weeks?
They gonna build up around the league. I always talk about how the league gonna promote. The league is going to instantly shift to this draft and that number one pick because they banking on dude for years to come. They banking on Victor for years. Whether Ja come back in full force or not, they banking on dude.
Right.
I know the league.
Even if he never got in trouble,
they still gonna bank on dude. So I'm like, they ain't finna let that bleed up. And then they got another guy. You got another point guard coming in school that's got that athleticism appeal. He got the game of excitement. Maybe not the personality type, but we didn't know Ja had that at first. Mm-hmm. We knew he was exciting. We knew he was off the chain, but the most excitement we got out of him personality-wise was the joggles at first. Right. So we don't know what that kid going, but we do know
first we thought when he first came out outside on the court, you would thought he was a little dull. Really, you would have never thought he was even active as he is.
Man, you punch on enough people, you're gonna turn the fuck up too.
Right.
So
knowing who you are at some point, right?
Don't fit.
So as far as the next topic of discussion, it's why we mentioned the Ja Morant situation. I want to jump into the Ja Morant versus Zion comparison in this situation. That dynamic, because you got people who our fans is like, well, at least our guy made the whole sign the NDA. I seen that quote. Shout out to the Cure because she was the one that came up with that tweet, so I don't want to steal it from him. Then you got other folks on the other side saying, well, at least Zion's problems aren't legal or compromising his money or his endorsements. So in that perspective of it, how do you feel about that?
I feel like 18 years. You got one kid, she got you for 18 years. Listen, from a personal standpoint, fuck that. Dude is, I mean, I don't even know nothing about the baby mama situation with Zion. Like, we don't know that. We just know that John jumped in a lot of gals' inboxes, man. A lot. And he been getting put on blast since he first got out of Duke. So, I hope ain't no hell in the Troy. Because this situation is not a hell in the Troy situation. There will be no Trojan horse getting beyond his wall. This chick is just trying to get on for herself. Mariah. I just call it. I don't know.
She actually has. I'm glad you mentioned it. Her searches on Pornhub went up over 2,237%. And
damn.
Right. Percent. Right. So she went from 100,000 views and clicks to.
Now I gotta ask, how you find out these numbers, bro?
I do my research, man.
Okay.
Yo.
Got to know. I bet that number sign just went up on her Pornhub search.
I'm doing my journalistic duties, man.
The journalistic integrity of this man is far and wide.
Yeah. So and she is also in the top 200 now the top 200 porn stars in terms of views.
Wow.
So she's in the category of the stars now, just overnight. So this situation has changed her whole life if she understands monetization and what she's doing. I'm pretty sure she do this while she's doing
Jordan Brand, give her some shoes.
or something. And believe it or not, she was on Wendy Williams. I saw a clip of her where she stood up at Wendy Williams and asked Wendy Williams about how to get real friends. You know, Wendy knew it was a stupid question, so Wendy just took it in like, you just want to be on TV, so I'm gonna give you one.
You know what? When you say that, that's actually a really legit question. Somebody that go do some shit like she just did, she might need to know how to actually get a real friend because she a snake type person.
Yeah.
So she might need that advice. Like, how about you don't go on the internet and put motherfuckers on blast about their personal business? Right. That's a good way to get a friend.
Big facts. And I think Whitney, like I said, I definitely know Whitney peeped the disingenuality in her. So Whitney just went in, you know, so Whitney just kind of read a little bit. But, you know, becoming something that's now a viral moment, you know, because everything came full circle. That's why you never know what'll go viral with these cameras, bro. You will think you just blow your nose, and later on, it's 2 billion views. You get a check for it. It's crazy. So that she been everything that she's done is now coming to full circle in a terms of benefit for her. It's going how to like now you got that content everybody looking at. Then you looking at your adult content. You know what I'm saying? Then they looking at everything that you tweeting on Twitter. So she is hot on IG. That's where she really made her name originally. That's her biggest platform. So she's, you know, everything is coming full motion for her. You know, of course, karma is something else, man. When you do somebody cold like that, bro, you got it coming back one way or the other. So hopefully she'll make the most of the opportunities that she's now afforded herself by running her mouth the way she did. But in terms of for Zion, I think it made her look better than anybody. But in terms of Zion, man, Zion ain't did nothing wrong, man. Zion, 22, 23 years old. What is he doing that any of us wouldn't be doing at 22, 23, single, at this time got no kids, even as of today, she's pretty, you know, congratulations on that. But I'm saying as of now, he has no kids that he's responsible for. Even if he did, he's single. And he got $200-300 million and he's super famous. You got your own Jordan sneaker at 20 before you can even drink alcohol. So what is he doing now? And you know, in terms of being perfect, what could he have done different? Let's just keep it real. You can have a person sign 20 NDAs. You can't stop nobody from deciding to go live on you if they want to. You know what I'm saying? You can't, it ain't nothing you can do unless you make the situation worse. It ain't nothing that he can do that's worth it to stop this young lady from doing what she did. So for me, you all right with me, Zion. You know, you might just want to be a little more careful in the type of chicks, you know, that you choose to deal with. But at the same time, in the world he in, ain't no such thing. Because everybody pretty much disingenuous when he meet them. When he meets somebody, it's different from the way you gonna meet them. We in two different worlds. Zion can meet the same person that you meet that's a great person. But when Zion meet him, it might be a totally different person. Because what's at stake is totally different.
Yeah, the bread.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard to say, oh man, he gotta be careful. Who he around? Zion ain't with the girl that you work with at FedEx. Zion ain't with the girl. He don't get the chance to be around the girl that work in the library. Most of the people that he around are in this world. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. He don't get the comfort of going and meeting his wife at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? That's almost unrealistic for somebody like it, because even if he do go on Walmart, you still know he's Zion. If you don't know, then you're gonna know by the time he get out the store. You know what I'm saying? That's Zion Williamson. So I just know not to run it on too much, but I definitely feel like, bro, everybody ragging on Zion. Zion straight. Folks saying he need to sign the NDA, and John probably made his chick sign the NDA. Yeah, but you ain't make the nigga sign the NDA that caused you all this shit you got going on. So either way it go, one of your people close to you took you down on social media on the same shit. So we can't say, and that's my guy. You y'all know how I feel about my boy. Shout out to 12. I'm just saying that in comparison, we can't say one person did something better than the other, because even in this situation, it was somebody close to Ja who ultimately cost him all the shit that he got going on right now. So yeah, that's ain't nobody better than the other, bro. They both young, they kids, bro. In retrospect, in terms of their experience, they're young men now. But in terms of experience and what they're dealing with, then we will still be kids. I don't care what you say. You can be 45 years old and you ain't never had $100 million before. You a kid to the situation compared to everybody else that's been dealing with it. So I just wanted to put that out there, man, because it ain't nobody better than the other one in that situation.
I mean, they both got downfalls to it. For me, I'd rather deal with an issue I can clean up by cutting my phone off than dealing with that shit Zion dealing with ain't going. And it's steady chicks popping out.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, we don't know what the implications and ramifications. Zion ain't finna get dropped.
No. Nothing like
my boy ain't gonna get dropped either from drop because they can't afford to drop him. Just keeping it real, he just that strong right now.
Yeah, I'm not talking about from this. I'm talking about from me personally.
Right.
Like for professionally, I'm talking about personally.
I don't the player.
Yeah, I don't want to. If I have an issue, I'd rather my issue be isolated. I don't want a bunch of outside factors, variables that I can't account for. Like you can't account for all the women inbox you jumped in like that.
Right.
He don't know, because this is the thing. The problem with stuff like this nowadays is the snowball usually never stops going downhill, building up momentum.
Right.
Usually
she on day 3 and she's still going.
And I'm not just talking about her.
Right. Everything else.
Multiple.
Right. Because there's another one coming out. She took the picture of the man sleep, took the picture of the tattoo with the earring, let you know. You can see them shoulders, that man.
And this is my point with that. And this is why I'm saying that. With Ja, his issue, send him to a gun range. He might let all of that anger out.
He's concurred the whole look of the image of it.
What I have learned in my lifetime from observance, if a dude is tender dick, if he got a weakness for women in a certain way, it's never going to stop. There is no weaning him off of the what he goes towards.
Right.
He's going to only speed up and go faster towards it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We've seen previous cases of it here instantly. But one thing about it though, that's all hoopla. It'll never be a legal issue.
I hope not.
Right. That too. But
I hope not.
When you get, and then I'll say this as well in terms of it's really the same issue for Ja. It's just not a female. You're dealing with a male because this guy here, respectfully, is just as much of a liability.
Yeah,
You just as much of a liability because everything you doing right now is compromised. It ain't even just the camera and him going live. It's the shit at the Pacers game.
Oh, yeah.
It's the after the game in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's everything else that he got going on that has put that man at risk. This 4 different instances where detail was involved to where not only was it it was a physical violent issue, or it was a physical or a violent issue in all 4 instances. So that's a whole different level, bro. It's actually worse. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd rather be tender dick and fall because I got the smash. Other than a hard leg get me in some trouble. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, bro. If I go down, I want to go down with a bra, not because of no nigga. I'm just being 10,000. I don't know. Get your hot man. If you can't
take the Samson approach.
Yeah. I rather, man, cut my hair. Fuck you talking about. I'd rather go down that way than go out like Julius. You know what I'm saying? Fuck E2 Brutus. Cut my hair. At least I got smashed in the process. Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
You know what? Me personally, I'm not the type of person to go out either one of those ways. So
we're gonna go out one way. That's guaranteed. And we all going out.
I take
heart
failure at 88.
That might be cool too. But I'd rather take a heart attack at 88.
Yeah.
Lay it up like that. Man,
what? That was gonna be dramatic.
Ooh, Lord have mercy, God.
It might have turned up. Yo, what's next?
So man, we definitely want to get into this situation. Oh man, this is the most nitty-gritty conversation of today. Mr. Jonathan Isaac. Mr. Jonathan Isaac recently made some comments on social media, particularly on Twitter. He tweeted out earlier this week about how the woke community has become so detrimental to American principles and the foundation of American communication and relationships in terms of dealing with people. The woke community is what's caused the divide in our nation today. And he also went into how, again, doubling down on the Black Lives Matter movement, not the organization, because I agree about the organization, but just Black Lives Matter in general. The term itself, the definition, by definition, is a detriment to our community because all lives matter. He added some stuff in there about dealing with Christ, but I have an extensive history of dealing with Christians growing up in Memphis, Tennessee. Shout out to World Overcomers, Bound for Blessings, Mississippi Boulevard. I was just there early this week at the Memphis Mary Forum. All of these beautiful churches here in the city that have that are totally contrary to what Jonathan Isaac represents in terms of the Christian community. I definitely think, overall, and you can go on Twitter and pull up what he said and see the exact quote. But I'll probably pull it up here in a second while Dez is speaking. But I think that what he said was not only conduct detrimental, but it was dangerous rhetoric to the Black community, because in that statement, you pretty much, and I'll pull it up here in a second so that I can validate what I'm saying. You pretty much dog whistle the violence and the discrimination that's been put on the Black community, oppression in general. You pretty much dog whistled that from that group of people when you jumped out there and said that shit. And you've said it continuously over the years. He was saying this before he decided to stand in the bubble. So that ain't when it started. He would actually been putting this out here. That's why, as a preacher, when he delivered his sermon, none of his teammates showed up. So this been going on. This wasn't no, oh man, I'm just a particular instance where I just can't agree with I can't ride with y'all on this one. This is where I don't rock with y'all, period. And y'all being us is the craziest thing about it. The irony of the fact is he's one of us. He's the darkest nigga on the boat with us. It's the darkest nigga on the boat with us, telling us that our racism ain't what it is. He actually downplayed racism in today's society. That's another part of the quote that really tripped me out. The man said racism really doesn't exist today. How the fuck do you say that when you in a league that's 73% Black and it's only had 2 Black owners, only one right now, and he getting ready to sell? How do you say that in a league where you ain't never had a colored commissioner, let alone a Black commissioner? How can you say that in a league where just up until recently, in the last 20 years, y'all didn't even have say-so of what teams you went to? You had no say-so really of the CBA. Michael Jordan left the CBA because he didn't get what he wanted in, because he felt like he wasn't being properly represented. That's a whole other story with it, but it's the point. That's how weak the CBA was even back then. The money that was being generated into the league compared to the money y'all were making, the revenue, the percentage of the revenue y'all was getting out of it was piss poor. So even up until recently, it was a racial disparity in so many different levels of just your league alone. And for you to sit there and say that racism really is not prevalent today, it's not only wrong and inaccurate factually, statistically, but it's also dangerous. So how is that not conduct detrimental to the league? And I don't figure out how people aren't as of an uproar about this, him saying that, as everything else. But we know why. Let's just keep it real, because That's what it is at the end of the day. We come last. We sit at the back of the bus in terms of society, us being blacks. But the reality is, man, what he said was just as dangerous because he's empowering those who believe in the violence, the discrimination. Right? He's telling them what you're doing ain't racist. What you're doing is not discrimination. What you're doing is not morally wrong in terms of the people as a whole. So why would they stop? So at the end of the day, I'm just sitting there, I'm in disbelief that that's not being talked about, that's not being condemned by anybody in the league in terms of the views of the league, because we talked about optics, right? With John Morant, what he did legally wasn't wrong, but it was the optics. How is this any different? Because this is the optics of racism. Everything that the league stands for in terms of diversity and inclusion and equality. If racism don't exist, why the league put equality and racism all over the courts in New Jersey? They had to realize at the very minimum something exists about it, right? Or because they ain't putting it, the earth is flat on New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Because so if that was the case, bro, it's a contradiction to even what the league says. So I'm trying to figure out how the league ain't spoke out against it and even condemned or punished him in this situation. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Damn. Yeah, my take on Jonathan Isaac. Look, man, you know you're on the wrong side when the dudes with the multicolored shades are giving you props on Twitter. So he he's just a goddamn weirdo.
Did you see? I'm glad you said that. Did you see? You saw it, right? With the tweet and how his response to it?
Yeah, he was even shocked because first of all, Jonathan Isaac should honestly shut up and dribble. That's just my take. Like, he should just shut the fuck up and dribble. He's a professional idiot because he ain't playing ball. So he needs some attention for something. Look, man, Mr. Glass, because he got the same walk throw that Samuel L. Jackson had in that movie. So he missed the glass for real. Everybody got joke, but he just
he's the darkest nigga.
Bro, to me, I don't even like with the colorism thing. I'm just like,
no, it's just the irony there because it's not colorism. I'm just saying it's the fact that I'm positive you have endured racism more than the average person my skin color.
Yeah, I'm dark.
You know what I'm saying? So how can you not? You of all people should be the last nigga saying.
Hey, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Bernie Mac on Don't Be a Minister South Central drinking your juice in the hood. When he was like, I hate whooping gold, Bernie.
Oh, yeah, because she's black. Yeah.
Like, turn the eyes.
And most of all, I hate that black ass. What we say, Samuel Jackson or something.
Man, listen, man. Wesley Snipes.
Most of all, I hate that.
Hey, listen, man. The main square is a box of wet matches. He ain't striking on shit.
There's a pool table. He ain't gonna take a nickel out the metal post.
Look, man. My thoughts on Jonathan Isaac are this. Growing up in the Bible Belt, growing up in the Baptist church, right? You got people that, and this is, I do this in life.
Don't put that on the church, man.
No, this ain't what I'm saying.
The church, I know y'all. I know Christians, bro, and I know I've been around. I grew up raised as a Christian, so man, Christians ain't talking that crazy shit. He talking.
I learned at a young age. I'm not gonna let nobody I can read better than and add and subtract better than tell me a damn thing about what I'm doing.
Now, I disagree with that because I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100. Some of the best advice I've ever had in life, and I'm not telling you wrong. I just want to put that out there in contrast to that. Some of the best advice I ever had in life was from a crackhead.
Listen, let me finish what I'm saying. It's not just all about formal education, right? Because it's people that my grandfather had like a 4th grade education in the 20s. Dropped out of school, all that because they were sharecropping in Mississippi at the time. Right. So of course I took advice from those older people. What I'm saying is, in modern times, when I see you a little remedial, I stop paying attention almost immediately because I can't go back and forth with a fool because they're gonna beat me with experience because they've been a fool way longer than I have.
Especially going back and forth.
And dude, a damn fool, man. I mean, the DOJ, the Department of Justice itself, did a study on racism and found out they racist. So this dude is he's not informed properly. Obviously, whatever background he come from is extremely odd. He's just a weird motherfucker to me personally. I don't like. Again, he's just one of them people, man. I'd rather he just go away. But it's so many people like him that you know they not. But anytime, again, you get props from people that's got goddamn Nazi type motherfuckers and quoting Mein Kampf and shit, and they backing you up. You pretty much know you're on the wrong side of things. And I think he kind of see like, oh, the people I want backing me, they telling me to go fuck myself. And the people that I don't want backing me, oh my God, y'all really proving me wrong. It's a lot of racism out here. Well, damn.
And they bag him out. They bag him up by saying you're one of the good ones.
Yeah, I mean, he just
hey, you stupid motherfucker.
Yeah,
I can't believe you did.
And as far as like the NBA ain't gonna do nothing about it anyway. So that's a moot point.
And that's what it's a moot point, but it's a problem to me because that's where we need to be as fans. There needs to be more outcry about that type of shit. Like you can't be able to dog whistle racism and be in the league not say nothing, and then on the other hand, the league got equality on the court and on the jerseys and shit. You doing Martin Luther King. It's just a total it's just total contradiction.
Well, you said Silver's he's a progressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the same way he not looking upon his job, but he looking to promote equity, equality, those things is the same way he not necessarily gonna silence dude. Because if look, the First Amendment is the First Amendment,
right?
You know what I'm saying? I don't think they gonna clip his wings for that. Unless he come out and say something detrimental to the sense of like.
But I would say this: if you say the First Amendment is the First Amendment, then the Second Amendment is the Second Amendment in terms of dealing with jobs.
Yeah, that's just a visual optic, though.
Right? Yeah, true, no doubt. You know, and what you saying is how things.
Because a philosophy is a lot different than a firearm. Now, a philosophy can make firearms extremely deadly,
or the philosophy of a firearm itself is something.
But Jonathan Isaac ain't talked on that part yet. He hasn't. What he hasn't done. What Robert Downey Jr. said.
Because what I'm saying is basically they all use. At the end of the day, they use. They all charged with using senses in the term both. I say not all, but both. Isaac being the senses of using his voice, which is the senses of ears, optics, and Ja using the senses of the hands and eyes. So it's what you see, optics. So it's still a part of the five senses. Is like I get what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I'm just having an advanced conversation. This conversation is something that needs to be.
I think with Jonathan Isaac,
going forward,
this is what it is. Until there are potential financial ramifications, like okay, the NBA and the NFL, right? The NFL on their axis, they chose to go far right. That's what they've chosen to do. Leadership, right. All that. The NBA chose to do the exact same thing. That's why the NBA as they appeal to demographics, they appeal to younger demographics more. They appeal to more liberal-minded, quote unquote.
That's why they focus on digital so much.
Yeah, they're going toward that. And with that said, they're not about to. They ain't about to rock their boat. They not like that. Of course, they gonna address the far right thing with the school shootings and all. They're gonna address that. I totally. Then they go left.
And I totally get that. What I'm saying is, I'm not even talking to the NBA because I know we know. Like you said, you're absolutely right. I'm more so talking to the fans.
Oh,
we need to start going forward, being aware of people saying shit like this and how detrimental it is, just as much as somebody a quick flash of a gun.
To me, the catch is
even more. I feel like what Jonathan Isaac did is more detrimental to the league and to people than what Ja did with the gun. Now,
I agree with that.
Because what you did was just totally push racism, and if you continue to allow him to do it, it's gonna catch. It's gonna catch because he's not being penalized. You think he's gonna stop? Because he's not being penalized. All he's doing is going viral. Ain't that what he want? Yeah. So he's winning right now with this. Why would you stop winning? That's big in his profile. He's only known for saying racist shit. That's really all we know. Jonathan Isaac more for what he say than what he play on the court.
Yeah, he ain't played before. He was really a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? He played since the boat.
Yeah, he
So even when he played, he wasn't all that. He was becoming a decent player, but he wasn't no star by any stretch of the imagination. So he's known more for his comments in terms of dealing with racism and downplaying, saying race flat out saying that. He didn't insinuate. He clearly stated racism is not as prevalent today, and whatever term he used, but it was just as blunt and blatant. So I feel like with that, bro, long term, we're allowing him to turn himself into a monster in terms of becoming an anti-figure. And one of the reasons why we're talking about this in terms of even relating it to our local market, Memphis, because a lot of fans have been talking about going after Jonathan Isaac as a target and trade market this summer. I feel like there's somebody you want to stay far away from. And this is why. I was saying this before this. We were having this discussion in the spaces here recently, shout out to Young Harry, them. But there's a few people in there, and nothing wrong with that. They were looking at, they weren't familiar with what he had been saying. People just didn't really know it at first. So I had already, it was just a coincidence. It wasn't me trying to be Nostradamus. I just had already caught what he had said before. I was like, nah, I don't know if I can tell y'all don't know, but bro said some wild shit before. It wasn't just him not standing, but him standing, to the flag. It was a lot of little shit he said in there. And then not even a week later, the very next week he came out and said this shit. So it's no way I would want that in the locker room.
No, I wouldn't want it for the simple fact that the man don't play.
That too, and that's what I'm saying.
From a basketball set. Now
He's not worth what you worth.
But his ideology wouldn't even fit in with Taylor Jenkins. It wouldn't fit in with Jai. It wouldn't fit in with Steve. Like this, he wouldn't fit in. Right. He doesn't fit in Orlando.
Nobody even showed concern.
He's not gonna fit in a 70-something% black league. Nowhere he go.
Right.
So that's
unheard of. Think about this. Usually, when your team got a player on it that's a preacher or something, everybody love that guy. Everybody loves preacher man on the team. Am I wrong or am I right? Usually, every team. I don't know if you.
Usually,
when I played sports. The dude who was the preacher man on the team, or that was more mature, he was the mature kid. He was the leader of Slick on the low. He was the cat everybody felt comfortable at the end of the day. He was the neutral person in the locker room. Everybody can feel comfortable they can go to it to some degree. So
yeah, but this guy isn't neutral at all.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like he traditionally, the preacher man on the team is the good guy. And he just totally changed that perspective.
I think he a young dude that's extremely misguided. I would like to meet whoever has had their hands on him and pointed him in certain directions. I'd like to meet them.
I want to know what his real background is.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I would like to meet that.
I believe there was some trauma somewhere there.
He got some self-hate. He got some issues, man.
He definitely.
He got some issues. Yeah. And it's a lot that he probably doesn't understand historically. Like, dude is lost. He a young lost dude, and it's a lot of young lost dudes out here.
And the crazy thing, he has the features of the original people. When you look at his facial features, he has the features of.
Well, look, in a society that teach you that ain't beautiful, then that makes it that much worse, right? Like that's
crazy. You ain't lying though. Look at Serena. That's just a whole other conversation. But I mean, we are sports. We don't. Even with Serena, I saw a picture of her recently.
That was a heavily photoshopped picture. You know that, right?
Okay.
The one I know what you're talking about. Still, heavily photoshopped.
When I see her now, anytime she don't look.
I mean, people make change. Now, Mike made his because he really had vitiligo, so he just wanted to go and do that. But for people, when somebody is blasted out there like with celebrity, right, and you come from a demographic of people that in this country just have everything just pressed against them nonstop. It's nonstop this all day. Just something coming down on you. Some folks if they don't just get to do what got them there, they gonna have that breakdown. Ain't everybody gonna just make it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't everybody gonna push through that. Not everybody's gonna do it. I mean, think about it this way. Venus, her sister, right? Venus didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? It's like not everybody. Yeah, not everybody is going to do whatever. And then however people want to look pretty or whatever.
That's your choice.
Yeah, that's what changes them. That's what Because again, the things that happen to us when we younger, in a lot of ways, that's what's gonna determine what we do when we older. Because a lot of stuff ain't healed. A lot of people didn't heal. Especially think about this. Something happened to me and you, right? Like you were saying earlier, we get to heal. Like we get to go in the back room, get our shit together, put the water on our face. These people do not get that option. Right. They do not. They go straight from obscurity, and for some of them, obscurity and poverty, straight to superstar. And then they beating. You got to remember this now about Serena. Serena was out there beating the shit out of them Eastern European women. Crazy. Killing. She didn't even have a rival. You show me another great in their sport that didn't have nobody nowhere close to them. At any point in their career,
was probably her closest.
That's in the house, so they gonna, they ain't gonna feel you. Right. That's where the money is. So, with that said, like she was beating the hell out of the epitome aesthetically of what people thought was the opposite of her as far as beauty. Mm-hmm. Like the people, that woman dealt with so much shit that I'm just happy she's still here. Right. For what they had her going.
She changed the game.
Yeah, because what they was doing to her was like. And the reason I say that, with
stuff on the court,
Jonathan Isaac didn't change shit. Right. He's just kind of here and here today, gone tomorrow. Type shit. He gonna be. And another thing is him just posting that response. Let me know that the people that would back him, the people that would snatch him up and bring him in with open arms and get him to spew that rhetoric, that dangerous rhetoric and propaganda he putting out there, they know he already like, damn, this don't look right. So they not finna embrace him further because they like, this mother might be waking up. Because last I checked, John ain't knocking on 30. Right. So he's super young. His brain at 25, frontal lobe just fully developing or whatever, however old he is. So the kid got some chances to change. I hope he do. If he don't, that rhetoric, they're not gonna put him forward like that. Like that force is not gonna do for him what they've done for Candace Owens or whatever, because the chick is pretty smart.
Who Candace Owens?
Yeah, she's a little bit smart. Brilliant. Like she's a brilliant. They not gonna.
She just chose to spew out
dangerous rhetoric.
Yeah, and dangerous. Absolutely.
She chooses to put out certain statistics that
sometimes she do be right there. I ain't gonna lie.
But it's not nuanced.
Like I'll say this, when she was at Revolt, I'll even point out a particular instance. She was so on point at the Revolt conference when she went to the Revolt conference a few years back, like 2-3 years ago. I can't lie. She that day she earned a lot of respect from me. I saw there was something there in terms of reality. But overall, yeah, she says a lot of crazy.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people, but with old boy, he'll be out of the league before he ever gain an actual voice. Because he's not going to have a voice in the league. He's just not. That's just not the way that league is going. Now, if you caught a cat in the NFL to do that, now he would be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they would push him. Yeah. But in the NBA, he know he an outcast. He knows he's exiled. So he might as well shout from the treetops with him and he believes.
Leaning in on
it. Yeah, I mean, because he know, like, no matter what locker room I go in, they ain't going to fuck with me anyway.
Right, I'm blown.
And then, honestly, no matter, you go to a lounge that mostly black people get, we ain't gonna fuck with you either, bro. Like, so
get beat up.
So it's that's what it is. He exiled. That's how I look. Like cats like him, Candace Owens, they choose exile. It pay them well eventually at some point, but bon voyage, salute, hasta la vista. Bye. Because that's to me personally, I think that's the grandest and best thing we can do. Mm-hmm. Because the only other option is to financially boycott the NBA, which I ain't finna fuck up the other 70-something, that 70-something% people. 70%. I ain't finna fuck their money just because he's an idiot. Right. Not finna do it. And they can't stop him from saying it. Right. Can't put a gag order on him for saying what he believes. So that's why I'm like, just exile him on a personal sense, ostracize, whatever, because he's spewing dumb shit. And, he is who he is, let him be.
I think there should be some type of reprimand about it, because if not, it's just going to create more tension. Because if you don't piss off some type of organizations, eventually you're going to piss off players in the locker room that's going to feel like, bro,
even if you reprimand him, he's going to do it again. Like no matter what you do to him, because he been getting checks and sitting down.
That's cool, but at least it'll let people know it's not. At least other players will know. Hey, if I do this, I might do this, but I'm going to lose some money. I might have to sit out some games. create some type of standard instead of just nothing at all.
I think he's such an anomaly for a reason.
Yeah, but as the league continues to have more diversity, you're gonna see some people more, a few of those people that have those views. Because he is totally an anomaly. Even the Christians of AC Green weren't saying no shit like that back in the day.
You know I don't think his views are based on Christianity.
Oh, I totally agree. Like,
I don't think they're based on any religion.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that's something that was being kind of spin online. Was people were trying to make this, oh, he's a Jesus free. Like, stop. Like, I'm not trying to push no particular religion on nobody, but to sit there and try to make it like that's a Christian thing he doing, bro, we ain't gonna do that. Enough of us grew up in a black church to where we know better, bro. I don't know about all churches, but I know in the black non-denominational and Baptist churches, even Koji, because I heard somebody online say that was specifically Koji. I used to go to Battle for Blessings as a kid here locally, which is the head of the Koji church here in America, and they never said no shit like that. And I used to go to them all the time because I had cousins over there right across the street from Battle for Blessings over there in Foot Home. So we used to go there sometime on Sundays. Bruh, they ain't never said no shit like that. So I just want to put that out there in terms of what's being said.
Well, people hide behind ideologies every day.
Right,
so
absolutely.
I don't pay no mind.
So next one, I want to definitely get to this one. Chris Paul coming to Memphis is something that's being thrown around. Legion Sports, which is a credible Twitter account, they reported it. ESPN even reported that Memphis is one of the teams that's going to be looking at Chris Paul. The Celtics being another one, and then of course the Clippers and Lakers. So Chris Paul in Memphis, man, what you think of it?
No chance in hell.
No chance.
He will be a Laker or a Celtic first. Laker overall. I mean, his relationship with Bron. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's a no-brainer for him. You could go start with the Lakers, and
especially if they can keep him and D'Angelo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could. I don't know who else they gonna keep.
Kyrie then.
If he come here, first of all, his job will be way harder here, because the starting point guard is 6'3", 6'2", and weigh 178 pounds. So Chris Paul is not gonna be able to play with him. That's the first problem.
CP3 can guard too, man. He played too. He
very,
very well.
CP3 is worn down at the end of every season because he's tried to do stuff like that. I think dude going for smooth sailing, and it don't make no sense. He already
he'll have to play more defense on the perimeter in LA because their perimeter defense is awful.
Only way he end up here, only way he end up in Memphis is signing trade.
D'Angelo and Brian and Austin Reeves on defense.
Only way he end up in Memphis is signing trade. That's it. That's the only way he get here. And I'm saying that because if he a free agent, right, he wouldn't come here on his own because other people want him. And he wants to contend somewhere, LA or Boston. I don't even necessarily think he'll choose Boston. I really don't, because he doesn't really choose to play on the East Coast. Like, if you look at the course of his career, like, dude, like it out their way, he gonna be out their way. Like, that's what he want to be at.
And what it was with that is, his family lives in LA now.
Yeah.
And his kids are going to school in LA now. So that's going to be the deciding factor. That's why you never see them even talk about the East Coast, especially now that they living in LA and have been since he played with the Clippers. His family never moved. So all these times he moved, he actually talked about that recently, how he was just talking about kind of how difficult sometimes it gets because he's in Phoenix or he's in Oklahoma City, and he'll get to see his family maybe once or twice every 2 weeks versus being able to be around them every day. So he going to LA. He going to go to the Clippers and Lakers, and he going to go to the Lakers. I don't even see why he would go to the Clippers because they banged up just as much as he is. So as far as Kawhi and Paul George,
they can't offer him any protection either from a physical standpoint.
Well, they got Russ. They going to keep Russ.
That man ain't playing with no Russell Westbrook, bro.
You don't think so?
That man ain't playing with no goddamn Russell.
They'll be a good switch like they're total opposites.
That man ain't
and he can shoot.
I don't see that man playing for the Clippers again. I really don't. Unless Ballmer be like,
I wouldn't underestimate Steve Ballmer.
If Ballmer say I give you more than a mid-level exception, I don't know how he could do it financially. Like, because of the new CBA. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how.
But does that go into effect this summer?
Yes, it's this summer.
Okay.
Like that's this free agency.
They're not in
That's
the
what
second.
kicks.
They're not near the second April yet, where the new CBA kicks in after the second April. After you hit the second April. So I think they're only.
I think if he got the opportunity to play with LeBron James, he's gonna do it.
I definitely say that.
I say that. That's.
But I would say, but that's gonna depend on what they need too, though, because the Lakers.
The Lakers definitely need a point guard.
Yeah, and he would be a perfect. He would feel where Russell lacks. Russell, that would take a lot of pressure off Russell, and they'll take a lot of pressure off Chris Paul because he got somebody that can play when he ain't playing, but don't need to be playing, and especially if they can keep Schroeder. But I don't think they're able to keep all three. But yeah, that's ultimately, he's gonna end up with the Lakers. That's his boy. He's definitely gonna stay in LA because that's where his family is. His kids getting older, he won't be able to see them. He won't be able to take his kids to school and shit. He'll be able to do that again more in LA versus anywhere else. True. So the East is out the question. And outside of LA, if he is willing to go outside of LA, I'm not gonna lie, I see Memphis being a possibility with it. If he was willing to go outside of LA,
he can't. To me, he don't wind up in Memphis until Tyus moves.
Oh, that's a formality.
It's a formality, but we don't know where and we don't know what you get back.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure if they know they want Chris Paul, they're not gonna take a point guard, man.
I'm gonna tell you something else. Another thing I question is I'm not so sure they moved Tyus, and this is my reason being. If they knew they weren't gonna bring Dylan back, they probably would have moved. Like this front office, I don't quite know.
I'm almost certain they're gonna move Tyus because it was kind of clear towards the end that Tyus wanted to be a starter. Tyus did not play the same when he came out the bench. It was almost begrudgingly. And I'm willing to say that. I'm challenging you. Take it how you want if you ever see this clip. It's just the truth, bro. Towards the end, anytime you came out the bench, it just was not going to go. You had made it up in your mind that you didn't want to back up Ja. You wanted to replace Ja. And you got a taste of it and felt like, well, shit, I'm putting up 20. I'm putting up 8 assists. I might not be Ja, but I'm on a level somewhere enough where I need to start. And that might be true. And who's to say you're wrong for that? You might get out there and go Jalen Brunson on him. You did have that potential coming out of college, so I can't say that's out of the question. But I won't. But at the same time, here in Memphis, his time is up. And even to me, the energy, chemistry-wise, changed between Ja and Tyus towards the end. They did not have the same chemistry that they used to have in terms of that point guard tandem that they used to be. Used to be where Giants and Tyus had runs together because Tyus would set up Ja and allow him to play out ball. But towards the end, it just seemed like, even when they would play them two together, it was totally weird because it was like both of them were fighting to be the same role essentially. And it was really, and then when Tyus was running, he was running a half-court offense. So he really put Ja in a situation because he feeding Jared. You know what I'm saying? Versus going to Ja and allowing Ja to be what he is. You know what I'm saying? He almost turned into a two guard in a sense, a spot up guy. And that ain't his game. So I think all of that being said, Tyus ain't coming back. I'm almost willing to bet on it. Because it's just time. That's not nothing Tyus did wrong. He's proven now that he deserves a spot, at least an audition to be a starter somewhere. So, and I think it's enough teams for the first time in a few years. There's a market for a Tyus Jones. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of these teams need a point guard,
right? And his type of point guard.
They need a pure point guard that can hit a shot.
There you go.
And I think he can do that. With the Grizz, they're not finna get no more short point guards anyway. I think they're going combo guard straight here on out. It's Ja and all combo guard.
I hope they
do. To me, it's no choice. Mm-hmm. To me, it's no choice. You can't.
Size.
Yeah.
He's not going. You're going to need somebody that can cover for them defensively.
Yeah, you need somebody that can play alongside him as their backup / 6-man guard.
Right.
It'll be somebody.
And somebody that can get a bucket. You know what I mean? We don't need another pure passing guy that when things get sticky or when the offense slow down, he's not accustomed to going to get a bucket. You need somebody that can just turn into a go get a bucket mode because that's what they really want to do anyway.
Yeah.
So definitely. And the last one is Where does Jokic rank among centers of all time?
Now we still gotta do the draft prospects.
Oh, you want okay?
We gotta do that.
Well, I tell you what, we gonna because that was number 6 actually on the list. That was the last question for the day. We definitely want to get to this Jokic one because of the timing.
Okay.
Where does Jokic rank all time if he gets the ring?
Centers. Let's see. Let me pull out the elementary abacus. You got no particular order: Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Moses Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon. I still put David Robinson over him. This is where it started getting tricky because it's like you got cats like a Willis Reed. Better leader than Jokic? Sure. Better player? Probably not. Probably not a better player than Jokic. You got Shaq. That's 7. Wow. You run through these lists. Jokic better than Ewing. Jokic better than Ewing, so I can't say that.
I don't know because Ewing was defensive player of the year on defense. Like, it was crazy.
Ewing is a better two-way player, but I think Jokic offense, and he's a bad defender at the rim. Everywhere else,
he's a positional defender.
Yeah, his playing kickball is actually very effective because you're going to get no backdoor cuts against this guy. Right. You got to throw lobs. Like, he takes away a whole part of the game. A lot of people can't take away a whole part of the game. Now, granted,
and he'll
try to keep you out the paint as much as he can. And once you get there, if you can elevate, that's 2 points every time on. Right. But I think that's good enough. He get the pass over Ewing to me.
But I think Ewing's defense was so impactful though, to where.
So you got Ewing over Jokic.
Nah, if I start a team, I'm gonna start with Jokic. The only reason why I say Ewing though is because of two-way and what's the rest of it? Well, I'll say this right now. The competition. Like, there's not even a center on the all-star ballot anymore. So the center position is essentially dead. Technically, you can argue Jokic is a forward. So who does he play every night?
Yeah, he doesn't have the level of competition.
Brook Lopez was about to win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
In the
Brook Lopez, the same Brook Lopez that at 25 was a turnstile defensively, is now Defensive Player of the Year at 35.
Drop coverage taking over the league in that way.
So, and that also goes to his competition. In terms even of the drop coverage, who is he really playing? Because it's really his own defense now versus actually individual great defenders. Ewing was that guy. And I'm not, like I said, if I was starting a team, I'm gonna start with Jokic. I'm keeping 100 with you. But I'm not gonna rank Jokic over Ewing, or I have a hard time doing it at the very least because the competition today. Man, Ewing had to get up and face Hakeem today, David tomorrow, Alonzo the next day, Shaq.
Yeah, he had a lot more.
You know what I'm saying? Sean Kemp. And he was at the boat. You name it. Rick Smith. Lower tier centers were guys, and he was a lower half center. He was not an upper echelon center. Rick Smith. Big Country Reeves was a lower half center in the league at that time. He was a 14, 15. He was a franchise level player on a terrible team, but he was still an important player to a team at that time. And he was a lower end center. So, man, so many guys, bro. Mutombo. Man, so many different guys, bro, that played in that time period that he doesn't have to face today. In terms of Jokic, bro, the center position ain't even on the ballot no more. So when I get to talking centers all the time, I have a hard time putting him over those guys.
I think most of the competition for him at center, let's see, center eras were mid to late 60s. The entire decade of the 70s. So you got like Wes Unseld. Like, I don't know if, and then depending on what rules you're playing with, right? Like, if you're allowing zone, I wouldn't take Wes Unseld over Jokic. But if you take out zone defense, I don't know if Jokic is a top 10 center. It depends on how the league goes. Because I'm taking Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes over him if you're saying man to man.
And that's what I'm saying, though. That was the point of the reason why I mentioned it in terms of adding in zone and drop coverages, because you can only play him in that scheme. He can't play center if you take that if you in the 90s, because that's against the rules, 3 in the key. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He couldn't play that in the back there. It was illegal.
No, it was illegal defense. 3 in the key.
Right. It was illegal defense, but even 3 in the key was he stays in the paint a long time, so that takes away from him even on offense. So it's in terms of with Jokic's game today, it's for today. He couldn't play both ways. Ewing can come in today and you play him in a zone.
He can still hit the midi.
And he can hit the midi. Yeah, and he was a good passer. He was just the game was different. He wasn't.
It was a congested lane, so you weren't gonna find as many cutters.
And you didn't have as many centers playing, bringing the ball up the court. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't coaches look at you crazy trying to leave it. I don't care how much handle Elijah Warren had. They weren't having him bring up the ball, but he had just as much handle as Jokic. Am I wrong? Am I right? So
you know what? I would say this. I would put prime Bill Walton over Jokic. Unhurt in Portland with Jack Ramsey as the coach, I'm taking Bill Walton. If he never got hurt, he would definitely have a better.
I'm definitely taking.
I would take with Russia instead of USSR. I would take Sabonis.
In his prime, yeah.
If America had better ties with Russia at the time, I saw what Sabonis did to David Robinson. He killed him. So I would take him because I know there is no version of. No, I'm talking. It's a completely different competition when he killed Robinson. What I'm talking about. I would definitely take RV to Sabonis
over Jokic.
Easy in his prime. Oh my God, he would kill him.
Yeah, he was
because I could never see Jokic doing to David Robinson what I saw.
But he had the size.
Arvidas was athletic too.
Right, and I'm saying, of course, he was far more athletic because he was still athletic enough to keep up with the torn Achilles.
Yeah.
So definitely, but he had the size that even Jokic doesn't quite have because he was 7'2". Jokic is 6'10". He's listed at 6'10". So you're talking about at least 4 or 5 inches of difference. I think Sabonis was listed at either 7'2" or 7'3". He was every bit of.
But in Jokic's face, I will say this: a lot of what I just said is circumstantial.
Right.
A lot of it is circumstantial. As far as like with them, that ain't circumstantial. They just
right. Oh yeah, I'm talking about between those.
Between them two and but like even a Robert Parrish in a man-to-man game probably will be equal to a Jokic. If you put Jokic in a situation where he couldn't play drop coverage and he couldn't play with zone principles,
and
the pick and roll, like somebody like Isaiah Thomas, they would hit 80 on him. Like he would be miss me. They would kill him because he just lacks the lateral quick.
He wouldn't even be able to play. That's what I'm saying.
But he plays.
He wouldn't be able to play the center because he wouldn't be able to play the anchor man.
True, but he plays in the league now where those are not the cases.
Right.
So you can only go with what he goes up against. So with what he went up against, I would say he top 10, probably right at 10 for me.
I can live with that one. If you have to rank him among centers, I'm gonna put him at 10, somewhere between 10 and 15. That's not to say outside of 10, it's just somewhere between 10 and 15 for me versus 5 to 10. And I prefer not to even rank him if you just give me my preference amongst the centers, since he plays in an era where center ain't even on the ballot. It's really not even technically a position anymore. So I just don't I don't see how you can rank him against the center when he don't play against centers. He's playing against forwards. Can
I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's about to change that? Because what he's done in his playoffs, okay, you take Anthony Davis, for instance, right? Anthony Davis in the bubble had 2 people that were physically as big as him or bigger to hold Jokic. So he was able to roam, and that's how they got them out of there 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis played against the Grizzlies. He played against Golden State. He dominated us. We had a 4 masquerading as a 5 in Jaren because he's not a 5. And then Golden State didn't even have somebody Kevon Looney was their only actual front court player, period.
Mm-hmm.
So because Draymond is just far too little. Anthony Davis ran into somebody that would historically be a center. Physically, Jokic is the size of a center. And Anthony Davis caught hell with that. He just couldn't do it. He looked to be a 4 masquerading as a 5 in that matchup.
He made him look like a boy.
I think
younger, smaller, weaker.
I think Jokic now sets a precedent. I think people are like, you know what? For the next 6 to 8 years, we got to deal with this guy.
I don't think his conditioning will allow him to stay dominant that long. I think he'll stay dominant another 4 or 5 at the most because I hope he do. I don't want to sound like a Jokic hater. How often do you see guys that out of shape that struggle with staying in shape, stay dominant like the other Shaq? And Shaq was, when Shaq was his age, Shaq was Shaq Diesel. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was cop.
But 4 or 5 more years of that, trust me, by year 2, if he do this again next year, you're going to see a complete revamping.
But I think that's also going to take away from his game because there are going to be more guys that can play.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to have to do that. Right. Because if he do this again next year.
That's going to slow him down to where he's not going to be as dominant.
Yeah, he'll still be an all-star, but I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
But then again, you got to remember, whatever guys you bringing up through the pipeline, are they going to gain 30 pounds in time? Because you need weight for him.
But they pretty much, all these guys, I look at Chet Holmgren. Did you see him recently in this picture? Young boy put on some weight now. He actually got a little.
What do you weigh? 205?
It looked like it looked good. Hey, compared to 150.
Whatever he was, man.
7'3", 150. But now he actually looked like he can hit you in your head and hit punch in your face and it actually hurt. Or if he go up with you down low, he might actually push you up off of him. So the league's strength and training and conditioning programs today is so advanced, bro. We're seeing them take the smallest cats, and in one season they gain 20, 30. It's crazy different today. Like, bro, cats like him did not get as big as he is now until their 4th year. I ain't lying. That's why they used to give a lot of them cats 4 years because it took them 4 years mainly.
It took Jordan like 5.
Yeah, and especially the European boys, it took them the lungs, the size, everything.
It took Dirk about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, man, them boys had to adjust to that banging against these Mandingos every night. So I think so it's today's game. I definitely agree. The way he kicking ass, you're totally right, bro. They ain't got no choice but to.
Bro, I saw him. It's some plays against Bam. I saw he didn't even bag Bam down. He walked him with his chest to the rim and did this. I said, first of all, let me say this.
Big grown man.
I want to say this to the Miami Heat, man. I love the coach. I love all that. But you lost this series the exact same way you lost to the Lakers in the bubble. Bam is going out there
too little,
and he is the 3rd biggest person on the court.
Man, he too little.
The other team
look like a center. Right?
The other team, when y'all lost to the Lakers, McGee was bigger than him, Howard was bigger than him, and LeBron. You playing against Denver, Jokic is way bigger than him.
Aaron Gordon bigger than him.
Yeah,
Aaron Gordon is noticeably bigger than him.
And Michael Porter Jr. is maybe 10 pounds less, 15 pounds
less. He
less.
gains more weight. He's clearly bigger. Right.
So you going out there, you're even the people
Jeff Green is just as big now. It's just as big as Bam.
You can't keep rolling out there like that. And Kevin Love giving you what he can, but the guy got more gray on him than anything. Like he's an old man now. This is not Minnesota Kevin Love. This ain't even Cleveland Kevin Love. So when Jokic doing this to people, the only person that can physically challenge him on both sides of the ball is all the way on the other coast in Philadelphia. From a physical standpoint, the only other guy in the league to me in the West that can strength-wise stand up to him is Steven Adams. He can stand him straight up. Chest to chest, he's not going to move. I think he used leverage, but I think when Jokic just decided to go straight over the top with his shooting touch, that's it. Like, that's when I was like, oh, he figured this out. I'm just going to shoot over. Because dude don't miss, man, from 15
but I ain't
feet.
gonna lie, though. Even when he tried that a few games where he shut him down, and I remember Jokic, he was just taking that shit away because he can get up quicker than Jokic, so he was contesting the shot before Jokic even quite get to him.
He did an admirable job, but he couldn't make Jokic working one-on-one on the other end either.
Yeah, right. So it adds up at some point, right? You might slow him down to 25, but that's 25 compared to 8.
Because Steven Adams out there on the other end, he might not be the go-to guy for Memphis, but he can score down low and
assists. He generates
with an offensive rebound.
Of course,
you got to. That's a grown ass man.
Right.
You got that man. He got. I'm just to let people know why I'm saying Steven Adams in case people don't understand this. Steven Adams got his offensive rebounding record against Embiid. If they let you know how strong this guy
I didn't
is.
even know that.
Yeah, that was against Philly.
Crazy.
It was against Philly. So, dude is that strong. So, he's somebody you got to deal with physically. But it's like 26, 27 other teams out there that ain't got nobody. Like, if people saying if Boston played them, it would look different. I'm going to be honest with you. Robert Williams is too goddamn little. And Al Horford is crafty and old, but he's too goddamn little.
Like Al too little too.
Too little. He gonna walk into the.
I will say this. Al ain't this big right here.
I saw Bam move Al out the way.
Right.
I seen Jokic take Bam out of Bayou's body and didn't even look like he knew that motherfucker was out there.
Yeah.
He turned to the side, did this, and Bam like.
I'll be honest with you. Bam looked like a stretch at this point, like a stretch forward, like in terms of his size.
Well, he's 6'9", about 240.
Right.
That's how big he is.
And that's a tip.
He about 40 pounds too little.
A tweener forward. He looks like to me when I watch him on the court banging down there, it looked like a tweener, like a 3-4 versus a 5.
But he been able to masquerade as a center,
especially in the East.
Exactly. He been able to get away with it.
The only person he got to worry about is Embiid.
Exactly. But with this guy Jokic, it's like, hold on.
Yeah, it's gonna screw up somewhere. All you gotta bang on offense and defense. So somewhere you gonna come short of the glory. When you do.
And he does something that
even if you stop his offense, he'll just get you 15.
Now, one thing that Jokic does that the truly great players do, he never bails you out. He'll never bail you. Whatever he doing to kick your ass, he gonna do it until you find a bona fide way to stop it. And that's something I would give him over a lot of great play. Well, over a lot of good players that appeared to be great, is that he don't stop. Like if he killing you with that 8-foot turn shoulder,
you got the mental consistency to stick with.
Never gonna stop. And then once you bring the extra defender, the lob is going up.
Right, he'll pass.
So
that's what he live off of. When you do try to fit double or help, he gonna just feed.
So I said all that to say this. This is why Jokic will ultimately be a top 10, and he probably gonna move up in them ranks. I'm gonna tell you why. He's got an opportunity to do something that Wilt did. And I can't think of too many other people. Well, maybe Will and Shaq with the zone stuff, but he might just change the game as far as how people do with prospects. Because people might get so scared of another Jokic coming that the center position might just come back full force.
I believe it is, especially if Wemby come in with Jokic, it's gonna force him. You ain't gonna have a choice. And if AD stay at the 5. And Embiid, at that point now, you got 5.
You got to have somebody that can play the 5.
Right.
So now, I think he can change.
Enough centers where we're going to have to start the center position is back.
And I think he could be the catalyst and he could be the head of that.
Yeah, he is. If it comes back, it's going to come back because of him. Or him leading the way, not solely because of him, but definitely Jokic leading the way. You cannot take that away from this man because as much as I love Embiid, Jokic here, ass at the house. You know what I'm saying? And he really led this team. What I like about Jokic, before I move on to this last one, his leadership, bro, real grown man.
Yeah.
That's a real grown ass man. The way he carry himself, bro, just a little thing. I pay attention to a motherfucker. It's the little things I like about Jokic, man. The way, I don't give a fuck if he walking in the arena. From what he wearing to the way he walk, talk, everything, bro, it's square business. Yeah. He's there to fucking play basketball, sir. All that modeling shit, he might put on what they tell him to put on, but he ain't even doing too much with it, bro. Like, bro, at the end of that, I came here to get buckets, sir, and do what I came to do. Fuck all the bullshit. And that's something that's very different. It reminds me of, he's almost Tim Duncan like in that sense. Because he don't really show a lot of emotion, honestly. I don't really see any emotion much from Jokic. So I definitely love that aspect about him. He got that old school OG persona in terms of how he moves and grew. This last one is a reason why I'm putting this one last, because it was something we could kind of work with here is his own entity, really, and that's draft prospects. Last week we touched on a few.
You just touched on one last week. That was Scoop. Week before last.
Right. Because we had Bryce here last week. Absolutely, man. This week, man, I want to touch on a few I got in mind. Derek Lively is gonna be off the board. We touched on James Nagy a couple weeks ago. We touched on Gigi. Some of the guys that I want to talk about this week, I wanted to talk about Kendrick Davis because he's been moving up the boards. And I just so happened to see a profile on him, a draft prospect profile on him this morning. So that's somebody I definitely want to touch bases on first. And he kind of goes with, I know Dez don't want no more small point guards, but hear me out.
Right.
Hear me out. All right. He's small, but he improves so much, and he's a very smart player. He adjusts as well. So, and he plays the passing lane so well that he actually covers a lot of ground despite his length because of how smart he can time the passing lanes. He averaged like what 2, 3, almost 3 steals a game this year. So he wasn't bullshitting. And what I also like about him, the effort. He's willing to play defense. So if he puts on, and it's something that they mentioned in the article as well, if he puts on a little more weight without compromising his athleticism and gain a little more strength, he can actually play those two positions pretty well on defense. Because if you want to be honest, the average 2 guard really don't even use their size anymore outside of catch and shoot. That's really the only problem that'll really fuck them is closeouts. Because most guys today don't really have the skill, us outside of the elites, to put it on the floor and shoot it in your face and create that type of separation. They're mostly the guys who can shoot are catch and shoot guys. And he's not going to really have, I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue early on because in his situation, he's going to come out developing anyway. He's not going to, first year, they're going to probably have him in the G League or just kind of bagging him up. That's going to give him a chance to play against a lot of second units to build himself up. And I think he can thrive in it, especially as an undrafted draft pick. He's not going to be a draft selection. He's somebody you can bring in as a two-way guy and see how it works out. His offense is where it's at. And I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody drafts point guards for defense anyway, and nobody will not draft a point guard because of their defense. I ain't seen a point guard late that didn't get drafted because of his defense. Can you name me one?
Now one person did. Off night got drafted because of it.
Who?
Mitchell, out there in Sacramento. He got drafted because
because his defensive specialist and his offensive potential too. Though.
Yeah, he got a potential.
You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't a Pat Bell. They expect him to be more offensively, even though he can't shoot the same as life. But yeah, I mean, and that's even a rare instance. And that was a few years ago. And there's definitely not a precedent where somebody in the last 10, 15 years that was not drafted because of their defense. You know what I'm saying? Defense, the lack of defense is not hurting prospects in terms of their draft value. So that's why I said I really can't worry about that too much because that's what you get your rim protect. And that's why you got the best defensive player in the league, right? We got the best defensive player in the league. So let him earn his money. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you got a guy who can get buckets day one. His offense, whether he's scoring himself or creating opportunities for others, he has shown, bro, his shit gonna translate. Man, that boy went in that G League camp, the G League elite camp, and took draft combine invites from people. Guys ended up missing that didn't get draft combine invites. I'm trying to think of it was a couple of guards that had big names that actually were high-ranked prospects coming out of high school that he took their combine invite. So it's with the word getting out that his offense is translating. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a guy. And bottom line, Memphis loves Kendrick Davis. So if you can get him on a two-way deal, he will sell tickets on Goodman Road. I know I'll be there to see him. If Kendrick Davis come to the Goodman Road and come to the Hustle on a two-way deal, I'm going to be there. I might not be there every game, but he got me for at least 5 games this season. So what you think? And I will go, we're going to go back and forth with the prospects. Who's your guy?
Brandon Podziemski.
Okay.
The guy out of Santa Clara.
Right.
Guy put up 19 points a game.
20, ain't it?
Yeah, right at 20, 19. And then what is it?
6 for 5.
Right at 4 assists and 8 rebounds. That's what caught me. I was like 44% 3-point shooter, right at 77% free throw shooter. So he can actually shoot. And
the rebound says a lot about his activity.
Well, the rebound say a lot about what the Grizzlies need. I'm thinking about him from a Grizzlies standpoint. The other prospects I covered 2 weeks ago was more in general, but from a Grizzlies standpoint, looking at dude game, 4 assists, he got the creativity. You put the ball in his hand, he ain't just somebody gonna stand around. He's gonna actually be able to get something done with the ball.
I mean, the 8 rebounds just show that's an active person.
Yeah, it's just active.
And he's not even athletic. That's the knock on.
He got a 6'6" wingspan. He's 6'5", so it ain't that long a wingspan. But he athletic enough. He can shoot, and you could play him next to Ja or Bang.
I don't know about them. His defense is crazy bad.
I mean, it ain't gonna be no worse than Kendrick Davis. If you put him,
I disagree, man.
If you put Kendrick Davis out there against Ant Edwards, he's gonna get murdered.
He can get murdered. But I seen guys like they get up on you and make life hard for you.
Bro, you is a regular guy. Ant Edwards is a different person. Klay Thompson, if he put Kendrick Davis on his back,
yeah, that'll be
with that. That's what I'm saying. It's certain matchups in the West. He gonna get ran. He gonna get ate up.
But they gonna have to be hot that night because on the other end he gonna make.
I'm saying this kid is 6'5". He got enough size to stay in front of somebody, and he 205.
Yeah, 205.
He's not less than 200 pounds.
Jalen
Green barely cracked 200 this year. So that's what this guy already showed. He can put the weight on. He can do what necessary. And he ain't that old. He like 20, 21, something like that.
Yeah,
he ain't 22, 23.
And to me, age is, to me, that's so not an issue today no more because we're not drafting guys for the next 10, 15 years. To me, that's another thing, too, when it comes to age with drafts. I think the age thing is a little overstated. Now, it might turn, some people will say, well, it speaks in terms of your ceiling. If you're at a certain age, you probably already peaked. But guys like Desmond Bain have disproved that theory. Guys like Santi Aldama are disproving that theory now. There's several guys that are coming into the league as of late who are disproving that theory because sometimes it might not be age. You might just be a late bloomer. You might have started developing late, never really got an opportunity until it got later. So, and we're starting to see that with some prospects. So I'm just glad you mentioned it with the age.
With him, the thing that I think appeals to me most about the Grizzlies taking him is I looked at a lot of prospects and then I looked at who fits that like what their front office wants and can give you something on the floor that's similar to what you need. He a bucket getter. And he help out with rebounds because when Steven Adams ain't on the floor,
that is our problem.
We don't have no rebound. We got whoever we draft at the wing.
They gotta help out.
Combo guard. Yeah. They got to go crash the boards. They absolutely have to go crash the board. Everybody I looked at from here on out, like prospect wise, they had to average 7 or more rebounds. Yeah. I don't even look at people that can't rebound no more because honestly, that ain't what Jaren can do.
Now, I ain't gonna say this too though. It's nothing that Kendrick does well is rebounds. He's another 4 or 5 rebounds a game. Like he'll get up under there and fight despite his size. That's why he was able to get a lot of little extra opportunities. You know, even when he wasn't shooting as well, he would go and crash the boards and create other ways. Might not be to the same level of Brandon, but you know, there's definitely something there. But I definitely agree in terms of what the Grizzlies would want. He aligns much more along those lines. But this is my thing. If he develops into what you want him to be, he's another Luke Kennard. He's a playmaking sharp. That's essentially what he is. He's a playmaking sharp shooter. You know, that's what we call a play sharp in 2K community. But he's a play sharp. He's a playmaking sharpshooter. So he's redundant in unless you plan on. Now I will say this: if I draft him, I'm looking to cash in on Luke if he pans out.
I say this: the difference between him and Luke to me is simple. Luke, not just that. Luke in college was never a go-to scorer. That Duke team was it was loaded.
Right.
He was never a go. This kid, he run the show as the lead guard. He can come in. If you play off of him, he can dot your eye. If you play up on him, give him a screen, he crafty, he's gonna create.
But see, this the thing though.
And he way more athletic than Luke too.
And that's why no.
He more athletic than Luke, man.
He might be he ain't quick as Luke. Luke quicker than him. He is noticeably slow in his feet. His feet are noticeably slow. He might can get up. I have to go back and watch him again. I'm not gonna say you wrong because I'm gonna have to go back and watch him again for certain. But when I watch him, his footwork is noticeably slower than Luke. Like even in transition when he got the ball, you can tell like he's all craftiness in terms of creating transition. It definitely ain't him blowing by nobody. Or getting up on nobody either for that matter. And that was in college, and he played in like the Pac-10, right? Pac-12.
Yeah, he played Pac-12, Santa Clara.
Yeah, Santa Clara. So
that's West Coast Conference.
Yeah, that's like
that's
the WAC 10 type shit. Yeah, so like
I think it's West Coast Conference.
Yeah, West Coast like the WAC 10, whatever that comes is. You are right, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all in terms of him being a prospect. I was gonna say is if he does turn out to be a better version of Luke, then that gives you even more merit to trade Luke in because he's redundant. That's what I was saying. If he pans out, Luke is redundant because I would rather keep Brandon in the rookie contract than have to pay Luke $15-20 million here.
The reason I wouldn't be so sure about that is because we still don't know when LaRavia shows up, what Zaire shows up. And what Vince we don't know which version of that.
Vince got hope. I got hope. I think Vince just never really got a chance.
I'm not saying who got hope and who not. We don't know what version of these people is showing up.
What do you mean by that?
I'm saying you get Luke one more year, right? Mm-hmm. You know what version of him showing up. You know what he's capable of. But even if he don't do it consistently, you know what he's capable of. Right. With them guys, the fuck? Like we don't know what we don't even know what possibly can happen. Right. So you gotta keep Luke just to make sure you can have it now. Because
I'd say get rid of them boys or something.
You gotta remember something. They don't got the value.
Right. I think their contracts alone and their draft positions, especially being so recent, I think they still have some value in a Tyus trade. LaRavia is gonna have value, or you know what I'm saying. Not just from a contractual standpoint for as far as his value, but just the fact a team will take a flyer on a shooter who was just drafted last year in the first round. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna take a bet. They'll take a flyer on him. And they'll definitely take a flyer on a top 10 draft pick just 2 years ago, who, if nothing else, he should be able to play defense. You know what I'm saying? God, Liam, you can't do nothing else with 6-7 feet wingspan, 6'9". You should be able to play some defense. True. So that one right there for me, I like Brandon. I'm not saying and we keep it real, he aligns with what they would like in terms of prospects.
I thought about that, like realistically, who they would take too.
And my only issue with him, and it's not even really with him, it's more having him and Luke Kennard. That's my issue. Because to me, at that point, what we keeping Luke for? Might as well cash out because you're paying him $15 million to do what you hoping he gonna do at $2 million or $1 million. It's a no-brainer. I can give you 15 if he can do it. And he already, like you said, the difference between him and Luke, he has proven he can be the man. He was the man on his team, you know what I'm saying? Versus Luke has never, and that's the one thing about Luke mentally that's stopping Luke from being one of the best shooting guards in the league is mentally, he doesn't have the mental, he ain't got a hooper's mentality. And we just keep it real. Luke don't really have a real hooper's mentality. And that lack of confidence and assertiveness, the mental consistency that correlates with it, Brandon already showed signs of it. So that I definitely agree. That's a good prospect. And that's somebody that people, it's been floating a lot through Grizzlies Twitter. Another guy that I like is Dark Whitehead. Out of Duke, man. I like him. And the reason why I'm mentioning him is because he slipped down the boards throughout the year because of the ankle injuries. But this is a kid who was ranked number 1, number 2 coming out of high school, All-American. Once you allow him to down, I think if you draft him, the only thing about it, drafting Whitehead, you might have to be willing to let him sit out for a year just so you can make sure he's healthy, if he's truly healthy. Because people feel like that the ankle surgery, the ankle injuries are so lingering that they could potentially take away from his athleticism. Because throughout the season at Duke, he was clearly hurt. Like, he was not the same player. He wasn't that athletic, explosive prospect that he was coming out of college. Now, luckily for him, he was improving his jump shot, so he was trying to balance it out. But I don't know for sure if it's enough to where it would make him a rotational player if the athleticism never truly gets back to where it was before. So, but I do like Whitehead because if you can get him back to that, that's a hell of a prospect. You know what I'm saying? You're getting a top 10, a guy that was before this season started, he was a top 5, top 10 draft pick. That's where he was in that 5 to 10 range. You can get that at 25. That's amazing value. And one thing that I prioritize over anything in the draft is value. I always go value, best player available, but even more, there are two, those are even different. Value versus best player available are two different things. And I will choose value over best player available if I have to pick between the two. And at 25, he is a value pick. You know what I'm saying? So, but I would just have to be prepared to where I'm going to have to clean house with some of these rookies we got. The Laravias, Zaire, somebody got to go because there's a chance I'm going to prioritize his development over theirs at that point. So what's the prospect you got in mind?
Leonard Miller.
Yeah.
Leonard Miller, 6'9.5", wingspan, God knows what. The man is a condor / pterodactyl with his arms.
He actually came in 6'9.75", so he really just 6'10".
Yeah,
without shooting.
He a big guy.
Man,
he averaged 10 rebounds, 17 points with the Ignite, and that means he was playing alongside Scoop and was still able to average a double-double.
And you know what's so crazy? I was gonna mention him. That's a damn good prospect, bro. That's
like okay now.
I like him, bro. He covers so much ground for the Grizzlies.
He leaves something to be wanted with shooting, but the form isn't broken.
And it got better.
Yeah,
he got better this year. Like last year, he was like a 7. He was like 17% or something. He got all the way to like 29%, and his form got better. It actually looked like there's a chance.
I'm taking him on athleticism and defensive acumen because he also can block shots. He can get the steals. He's usually in the right place at the right time. And again, rebounding. This team needs rebounding. I don't care what nobody say. Somebody pulled down 10 boards in the G League. I don't think Kenny Lofton Jr. pulled down 10 a game. I don't. And he was playing straight front court. This dude playing on the wing. So what they tell me is this guy can get you boards. He's gonna finish at the rim at a high clip. And he got shooting touch inside like the free throw area. So he can get he's gonna work on it. He's gonna get a mid-range game. He got a decent enough handle. I've seen him cut through defenses with a live dribble. So they let you know he can create.
He's actually I'm gonna be honest with you. That's one of the strongest points of his offense is his ball handle.
Yeah, he's
actually a pretty solid, reliable. He actually plays a lot of point guard sets. He actually does do a lot where he's facilitating. He did that even more last year. I think this year, I would say it was pretty much the same. I think the same
with the Grizzlies, for me, with the prospects, I'm kind of sick of getting the all-around prospect or a person they viewers can be all around. At this point, go one extreme or the other.
Right.
Go get you a combo guard that can fill it up and get you some assists too, or you go get you one of these physical specimens that can stretch their arms out like this and damn near touch the rim and dunk on people. Yeah, go get some people like that. Yeah, I don't want to see no more in between prospects.
That's why I want to take the gamble on Whitehead, because if you get him the athleticism that got him ranked top 3 in the nation, that's the type of guy, the length, everything, you know, and obviously he can shoot now.
Y'all like Duke guys, the Memphis front office, so that's another thing.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So and that's why they looking at Derek Lively so much right now. They were hoping, but he's out of target now. He's the only center in this draft, because Wimbiana, they don't even count. We know where the draft don't even start right there. You know what I'm saying? So so Derek Lively's the best guy, so that's not even available. My third guy, you know what? We're going to do this.
It's new. He winging it right now, y'all.
Oh, yeah. I actually had some guys in mind, but I wanted to touch on somebody who I felt like was an underrated prospect that really nobody is really touching on. And for me, today's guy is going to be Jet Howard. Did we touch on Jet last week?
No.
All right. We definitely can touch on Jet then. Because Jet really fills in everything that. And, I don't know. I think Jet might move up the draft board, but right now, most of the draft boards have him in that 25 range, which is crazy. If Jet ends up being available at 25, I don't know. I don't know how you turn that down because, man, Jet is 6'8", a legit 6'7", 6'8". He's about 210, 215 pounds, somewhere in there. Hell of a shooter, a scorer. He's a developing 3-level guy, but right now he's mainly a perimeter mid-range guy. He can get to the rim. He's definitely shown the shot creation is there. I think he's just gonna have to continue to work on his body and his footwork in terms of just getting himself a little light off his feet. But he doesn't even have to do that. He can literally live outside because that's just how much of a good perimeter scorer he is. So, yeah, man, I think with Jet, I'm a big fan of what he's doing right now, bro. And if he's available at 25, like he's a no-brainer because that's a guy that can dead ass be your fourth scorer. That's a guy that can actually come in and be a contributing scorer right away, and he knows what to do. Like his nuances offensively. He grew up around the game. His dad's Juwan Howard, so he's a coach's son, and he has star genetics in him. And some of his dad's genes actually rubbed off on him, which is a rare case for most NBA players' kids. So he actually has the nuances of the NBA down pat in terms of the skill, the feel for the game, the off-ball awareness, knowing where to be, drifting and lifting along the outside, his time and his down pack in terms of finding spots where he's supposed to be on the court to get his shots off. And I'll say this about Jet. Jet is an effort defender. He might get lost sometimes on defense, and that's where people didn't like him as a defender, because there were times where he might get lost in the rotation. But the effort is always there. I would definitely say that about Jet, bro. Like, one thing you won't say about his defense is just not effort. He might lose focus sometimes. I've noticed that about him, especially on screens and swings across the court. He get lost in those moments. So if you screen him or you run a pin down, he can get lost.
Defense definitely ain't a strong point for him.
And it's more of him learning, which is a concern, because you would think a coach's son, if they had defensive issues, you would hope they would be athletically more so than awareness or coverage misassignments. So that's kind of a red flag. But at the same time, it's still something that's fixable, and he does show the effort. And you don't have to be an A-Wizard defender, bro, especially for what they drafted him to be. They drafted him to get buckets. And at his size, and he does have enough athleticism where you can cover him in terms of scheming your defense around, covering his mishaps. So that's my guy. If he's available at that 25 spot, out of everybody we talked about today, I would take him. Well, it would be between him and Leonard. I ain't gonna lie. Leonard is because Leonard covers so much ground. Leonard can potentially play sets at the point. He's proven he can potentially do that. But if nothing else, he can play at the 3, the 4, and even the 5 in some lineups over time. He'll be able to play 5. He's got the body to work and the physicality. He's already a better rebounder than some of our big men. So our starting big man, to be honest with you, he's already a better rebounder than Jaren. And Jaren is the best defensive player in the league. But it's not a knock on Jaren. That's just his thing. This is what he's already ready to come in and contribute to the team right away. And as a wing, doing it at 6'10", without shoes. He's 6'10" without shoes. That's crazy. At first I used to call him tall Justice Winslow, but he actually got that shot a lot better to where I think he'll surpass that issue. But yeah, those two guys between Jet Howard and Leonard Miller, those are the two guys, my dream prospects at 25.
I got two high upside guys in this draft, and one of them I'm gonna talk about today, and that's Bobby Clinton from Wake Forest.
Okay.
The kid's 6'10", legit 225 to 230, but he moved like a wing. He does not move like a front court player.
That's crazy.
Yeah, got a 7+ wingspan. Foreign kid. I forget one of the European countries. Hella athletic.
So he a 4?
He played 4 at Wake Forest, but he really a 3. In the NBA, he a 3.
So he got the athleticism.
Yeah, got the shooting stroke, got the handle.
Like the defense, because defense.
Oh yeah, he's that. He's that.
Okay.
Like what he is young. Okay. But people look, our dream player right now in the league that's a free agent is Kyle Kuzma. To me personally, that's the guy that's available. I'm like, if you get him, he changes everything offensively.
But see, the thing with Kuzma, I ain't mean to steer away from your conversation. It's just, I get it, but he ain't gonna want to be no 4th option in Memphis, and he got a ring.
This is what I say to that: if you get him to sign a 4-year contract, I really don't care what he wants.
Right.
I'm just being like once you under contract, guaranteed for more than 3 years, you adjust.
These guys, that ain't the way. It ain't like.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he's a 4th option in Memphis. I don't. I think he's a number 2 through 4 option, depending on who's matched up against him.
Okay, so it's a matchup thing.
It's the same thing with Bane and Jaren.
So you really think so you feel like number 2 is an option? The number 2 option is by committee.
Yes.
Okay.
It already is.
Yeah.
It already is. You know what I'm saying? So that's built in. Because if the 4 small enough, John the number 2 option. If the 4 we playing small enough and Adams is in the game with Jaren, you're gonna throw the ball to Jaren first at this point. So you want options on who's what. But this kid here is 6'10", 220 something. He can rebound, block shots. He got shooting touch. He's just young. But I'll say this. You put him next to Jake LaRavia and Zaire Williams right now and say, go play basketball, he make them look like they ain't even supposed to be out there with him as far as being a prospect. As far as being a prospect, he already has experience with the national team in the country he's from. Like, he already got that going for him. This kid already got a lot of stuff working for him. And when you see him play, the athleticism, the lateral quickness, I always talk about lateral quickness. It jump off the screen. He can slide them feet. He do not, slow feet don't eat, and he's going to have a buffet.
Talking about
Clinton.
Bobby Clinton.
He's going to slide his feet, stay in front of people. He can challenge for verticality. He can get the weak side block.
So does he kind of remind you of Kuzma a little bit?
He reminds me of Kuzma, a Noah Vonleh with handles. With a much better handle and a jump shot and a consistent jump shot.
So he's like Kuzma, but more athletic or more physical?
He's more athletic, not more physical. Kuzma's 235, 240. The kid ain't more physical coming out, freshman, sophomore year.
Kuzma like not a weak, but a soft body. Not weak in terms of being a soft mentally, just a soft body.
I'm gonna say this. He went when the Lakers went on that run in the bubble, he bodied up because that's what he had to do. Kuzma type of player, he'll play a role player, he'll play 20 plus. He gonna play to win. He proved that already. But with this kid, he's just that type, and he's malleable. You can mold him to what you want him to be. And he has, and this is my whole thing I tell people. If I see athleticism with the shooting form, I don't care what the percentage of the shooting is right now. If they're younger than 22.
The form is your potential.
I'm like, and then I see handle.
Oh, yeah.
He already
handle is where stability.
He already got a better handle than Zaire, Dylan, and Jake LaRavia. Today, I'm taking it. I'm like
better than Dylan handle?
Hell yeah.
Oh no, man.
Yeah,
Dylan pretty decent handle.
Bro,
Dylan used the ball a lot. He wasn't no crossover guy, but he had a steady hand.
He's a below. Dylan Brooks to me was a below average ball handler.
Nah, I definitely say he was average at the very least.
I think he used his physicality over people at 230 something. Though. I do think he
that's
did
part
that.
of being a crafty ball handler.
Well, this kid,
because that's what Darren Williams used to do at point guard. He wasn't no
It was bait for.
Yeah, but it was the bait because of his size. He would intimidate people with the shoulder, step back, and then come in. That was part of his game. You gotta remember.
He gave out the hopscotch.
You know,
he gave out the NBA street shit.
Yeah.
But now with this kid, when he put the ball out in front of him, he, like Kyrie say, he dribbled in a box. That's what Rod Strickland taught Kyrie. Like the kid dribble in a box, and he has all.
Oh, Clement does this.
Yeah, he dribble in a box. Watch him play.
I gotta check this cat out.
Watch him play.
I know, like, Dez put me onto this cat because I had never even. I don't even think I've seen him.
I got hip to him like 3 weeks ago because somebody was talking, and then I saw like it was an international type thing, right? Mm-hmm. But he played at Wake Forest, but the kid from overseas. So I was peeping like Ryan Rupert, which I'm gonna talk about him on the next week joint. But yeah, him, Bilal Koulibaly, them type kids. Mm-hmm. And he was in the Euro or whatever, doing what he was doing overseas in FIBA or whatever he was playing in. And I was watching him play like, damn, this dude got game and he a legit 6'10", and he got legit athleticism. I'm like,
so he almost similar to Leonard, just a better touch.
He's bigger.
He bigger than Leonard?
Yeah, he's 6'10", and he 225 to 230.
That's Leonard though.
He ain't 230.
Nah, he ain't 230. He more
220. Yeah, he in there. Nah, this dude is like a solid 10 to 20. He's not solid 10 to 15 pounds.
Why is nobody talking about this cat yet?
It's always people don't nobody talking about.
Cool.
Yeah.
The guy you compare him to. Yo,
so you know what I'm saying? It's like when I watch him play, I'm like, okay, you can see everything there. You already proved you cool with sitting people for or playing them for a year or two. Because Santi I guarantee you, he finna come back 20 pounds heavy. And that's why Memphis people worrying about front court. I'm like, listen, they're gonna play Kenny Lofton Jr. Santi Aldama gonna put on some weight. That's gonna be your front court.
Because you ain't gonna get it in the draft. Because Lively's not available outside of Lively and Najee. And I doubt Najee gonna be available because once Lively get drafted early, around 12 to 15. Teams don't panic because they're gonna know it's only 2 guys in the draft outside of course, Vic don't count. Somebody gonna hear up and draft Najee. You already know because they're gonna panic. They're gonna be like, all right, we want to steal his last call for alcohol. If he get out, it's over with. So that's out the question. You're not getting a center at 25. Take that out.
Another thing about Clinton is that he's their type of guy. He's their type of kid.
For character wise.
Yeah, he's he from overseas. He mild.
Right.
He's not finna do all this.
And he green. He don't got nowhere to go to get in trouble here like this.
Exactly. He'll come in. He'll put his nose to the grindstone. He'll do what he got to do to develop his game. You don't have to work on his body that much. You give him another 10 to 15 pounds, but you can spread his out over years.
Because in today's NBA, he don't need to be 250.
This is my thing. I know people's obsession with Jaren being a center.
So you ultimately hoping this kid can become a
3-4.
But you already saying Jaren will never be a center.
But it's that obsession. And honestly, Jaren Jackson Jr. with another 15 to 20 pounds is a legit center.
They need to all be in his booty and legs.
Yeah,
they get him out of BBL. We gonna get Jaren Jackson.
But that's my last prospect. If y'all ain't heard about it, Clement, look at him. And again, don't look at him as a finished product. Look at him as I look at him as a prospect, and tell me tell us what you think of him, because that's my high upside guy. One of the two.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check this cat out, man. I ain't gonna lie, you got my ears, my antennas up, man. I love prospects. Tall ball handlers always been my weakness. If you tall and you can handle the ball, you got some floor, especially if you got some type of shooting form. You ain't like Dez said. Dez pointed out something. You ain't gotta have the percentages. It's what your form look like, because the form gonna determine your potential. So I definitely say that. Now, the last thing we want to touch on before we get out of here, of course, we always got to do it. You know what I'm saying? We both too fresh, too clean, and not let you know what we got on the scene. We just want to give y'all a look, you know what I'm saying, by the book. And
knock it out.
One boy for your boy. Same old man, keeping it fly, man. You know what I'm saying? Jumped in this thing, looking like a panda bear. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? With the baby wavy hair. Oh yeah. We beside you down. Definitely. I know y'all know about these, man. The Couture Versace slides, man. I know everybody been crazy about these. Yeah, the boy went ahead and got his hands on a few of them. his and hers too, man. The wife made me get her some too, so shout out to that. But yeah, man, I'll check out the, you know what I'm saying, the Get Down, and then of course we got all the signature Ed Memphis Versace shades, don't play all damn day in your face. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we gonna keep it pimping. Yeah, man. And true living socks, man. You know what I'm saying? But
Fresh to the socks.
Man, it. New Balance the draws. I want it all.
Yo, for me today, man, it's a light work white tee. I got on the Ralph Lauren with the flamingos on the shorts.
Okay.
Got on the all white Nike Roches.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all seen the all white Nike Roches, but these I've been running in them and stuff, but yeah. I rocked all white today, man.
Yeah, very clear.
Like where I got these some young lady told me at Walgreens that I had on Hoochie Daddy shorts.
No,
that was what she told me. I got on Hoochie Daddy.
I look at them as the Dame Dash, the players. Dame Dash really the one. Folks got to give Dame his credit. Dame was the one who really. They call it who Dame put it. Dame gave me the okay to really. When I saw Dame rocking like,
they really just 1980 short. If you got a picture of your daddy in the 80s, your daddy had some nut huggers on.
They might even know.
Yeah, these ain't nut
huggers though.
Now, I just it's humid as hell in Memphis, man. We be dealing with a 90 to 100% humidity. So the flamingos, man, give me a little taste of Miami somewhere tropical or somewhere. And that's it, man. That's I'm very casual today, man.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
So, hey, man, say, man, it's Diz and Ed.
Man, it's Ed and Diz.
Podcast from around the way, man. We're gonna see y'all again soon.
Holla at your boy.